Today, I want to talk about how the world's biggest global brands such as Nike, McDonald's, Microsoft, P&G, Samsung, and more than 50% of the Fortune 50 and 9 out of 10 of the world's most valuable brands are all working with a company called Sprinklr, which is the first unified customer experience management platform for the enterprise. And they help the world's largest brands reach, engage and listen to their customers on Facebook, Twitter and over 23 other social channels, all for the purpose of marketing, advertising, research and care. And Sprinklr does all of that on one unified platform, which integrates with legacy systems and allows siloed teams to collaborate and deliver a seamless experience to every single one of their customers across any channel and at scale. So I was incredibly impressed with what I learned, and for me, Sprinklr stood out of the 200 plus booths here at the Adobe Summit, and Sprinklr seemed to be one of the very few out there that had no competition. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Vegas so we can speak with Sprinklr CXMO Grad Con in what I promise you will be a very enlightening and amusing conversation too. A massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure, I'm Grad Con. I'm the Chief Experience and Marketing Officer for Sprinklr. And what I'm responsible for is all the traditional marketing motions, and the way we measure that is pipeline. But I'm also in charge of experience. And how do our customers experience the product? How do they fall in love with the product? And how do they use the product to help their customers fall in love with them?
There are so many buzzwords here at the summit. It's almost like we're surrounded by them, but I'm on a quest to learn more about how this tech is working in the real world, outside of conference halls and keynote speeches. So can you tell me a little bit more about how Sprinklr is helping large brands such as Disney, L'Oreal, McDonald's, Michael Kors, Nike, P&G, Santander? I mean, I could go on, but how do you help them manage their social media?
What do you mean buzzwords? Buzzwords in marketing? I'm confused. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think I used to work in healthcare, and every industry actually has buzzwords, and particularly acronyms. And part of the reason for that is that it's the way the industry creates a language that creates exclusionary access. So that basically the way I judge you is I'll say to you, hey, what are you using to generate MQLs? And if you say to me, what are MQLs? I'm like, oh, hello, goodbye. And it's very interesting. Every industry's got that. Marketing is particularly adept at creating them because they're very creative people. So they're really good at creating them. And I think that where we get lost a lot of the time is that at the end of the day, if a customer doesn't take a charge card or cash out of their wallet and give it to you, then there's no company. I mean, it's not that complicated. and it is funny how people get all sort of like confused on, what is the role of the customer and should they be customer centric, and CXM is this new acronym that's now come out, customer experience management. But at the end of the day, someone has to decide to give you money for the thing that you're selling. And so how do you do that? And I think the really simple way is that you want them to feel that by giving you money, they'll be happier. Now, you can't promise happiness, because that's a quest that's never ending. Just, you kids out there, trust me, don't try to chase happiness. But happier is doable. You can be happier. And so how do you create happier customers? I think that's a core issue. Now, let's assume that it's 1850 right now. You and I are running a shop. Okay? Would we be flipping around words like CXM and MQLs, and would we be talking about marketing automation? No, but we would be thinking about how do we make our customers happier. We would be worried about that. Right? And so we would think about how do we greet them when they walk in the door? How do we get to know them really well? That was always the big secret that shopkeepers had, is that over time they would know their customers. And that customer would walk in the store, and I know exactly why you were there. I knew what you wanted. I knew what you bought last week. I knew what you're thinking of buying because we were talking about it. We would have a conversation together. This idea of really getting to know somebody, that's something that we've lost a lot as companies. And then once I know you, then I'm like, okay, how do I tell you that I got something that meets those needs that make you happier? And then how do I communicate that to you? And then how do I give that to you so you give me money? Like that's how we would run a shop, right? And I think for a large company today, they need to have a shopkeeper's mentality. Which, in the first step of that is you need to understand what your customers are talking about, what they're saying about you, what they're saying about their lives, what they're saying about products in your area. Like, they need to know all that. Now, until very recently, it was hard to know those things at scale. And so, quite frankly, we sort of gave up as an industry. So if you think about the history of the 20th century, it's broadcast century, where we basically stood on soapboxes and just yelled at our customers, right? And we'll just repeat the same thing over and over again until they get it. And if they don't, well, then we'll just keep telling them over and over again. It was a horrible time when you think about it. But now we actually have the ability to listen to what people are saying about the things they need and their likes and desires and dislikes, and then act on that and solve those things and create a happier person as a result. We live in a very amazing time. And I think if you can just boil it down to happier customers and boil it down to knowing and then being able to engage and respond to it, it isn't that complicated.
There's a real vibe around privacy, trust and transparency here at the Adobe Summit this year. So can you tell me a little bit more about how Sprinklr helps large brands manage their customer social data in a secure way? And also, of course, how you're helping brands reduce risk in their own social media management practices.
Right, so privacy has always been a first-party citizen at Sprinklr. So Sprinklr was born 10 years ago. It's a 10-year-old company now. And there was one simple idea in the founding of it that's been pretty critical to our success, which is that we only work with large enterprise brands. And so what that meant is that we had to create a tool that would integrate into very complex IT environments with very large multinational organizations. We operate in 150 countries today, right? And 27 different languages. You know, we've got offices in 15 countries. We have 1,400 employees now. So, we've been able to sort of service these large multinational clients by making sure that privacy, security, and governance were always first-party citizens.